Justice League Odyssey issue 6, written by
Yeah, you done me dirty on this one.
written by Dan Abnett, art by Carmen DJ Domenico. So what happened, Matt?
Well, let me just say this: the art's really good, but
Yeah.
it's Gigi Domenico. He's drawn some aliens, and Darkseid, but I still don't know what this book is. What's going on here? It just definitely feels like stuff changed, and they completely the book that I thought we were getting, we're just never like that's not what this was meant to be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Completely unnecessary and kind of a waste of time. And that pains me to say because I really enjoy a lot of these characters. Well, two of these characters. Um,
Yes.
Darkseid had kind of been manipulating this from Brainiac from the time because he knows if the Source Wall falls, then that can be the end of the Fourth World, and at the end of the Fourth World, New Genesis is gone, which makes him the winner, right? So that's all Darkseid wants to do because Darkseid is. While all this is going on, he's fighting these Brainiac forces that are trying to take him out, that are in the Lost Realm or whatever it was called. Um, and so by the end of it, as the issue goes, he keeps fighting these Brainiac forces on let me find the planet on Aeon. The Ghost Sector is what it was called, but Aeon, and they're taking chunks of Darkseid. Like it's not an easy fight. Um, but as he's fighting these guys, you have the Justice League Odyssey crew kind of arguing what to do, and Jess wants to leave. She's like, I was kind of only here by accident. I need to go. And Cyborg's like, well, no, you're part of the team. Like, you are outside of me, you're our heaviest hitter. Like, we need you. And she pulls him to the side. Like, I can't charge my ring. Like, it's not letting me do it here. So I have to be very careful of how I use my ring. So this is why I need to leave. But before they can do that, they end up crashing on Tamarin because of the machinations of Darkseid, because he's kind of manipulating the fall of the Source Wall that we saw in Justice League. And they get hit by this like wave of like particles, and it crashes them into Tamarin, and they run into Blackfire, who is Starfire's sister, and Tamarin's a wasteland, and so Corey's like, well, this doesn't make any sense. This is not how the planet's supposed to be. Then, of course, Blackfire tries to blame her. This is, all Starfire's fault, but she protected the homeworld by basically selling out to Darkseid because he would leave him alone. Of course, Corey has some issues with that and basically tells her to go on your way, because Darkseid comes back here, he's got to kill on sight, which works. It's Darkseid. So, but basically, Blackfire says like she'll kill her sister if she has to. And then it cuts back to Darkseid, and this was all a big thing to plot. Let me find the name of this thing, because he's the final New God, because he wipes out New Genesis and Apocalypse itself with the Source Wall power. But it was called the Eschaton, and they're a mythological creature on Apocalypse and New Genesis from like the Fourth World, and they're basically carrion eaters of anti-life. And they said they would come when the Fourth World was dying to pick apart the bones of the new gods. Darkseid wants to weaponize these, because of course he does. Because he says...
Because Darkseid is a dick.
Yeah, that too. It says reality's stricken, but it's not dead. Life can be salvaged. And then the Eschaton goes, by who? There's no new gods left. He goes, there might not be other new gods, but as you can see, Darkseid is. And you get to the last page, and the Eschaton takes full form, and they're like these big, giant, like multi-faced creatures with like long claws and horns, and they strike Darkseid down, and it says, "No, you were." So we can see Darkseid die again. So in my 15, 16 years of reading comics, I've seen Darkseid die more than any other character, I think, by this point. So yeah, I'm done with this book. I think it's not at all what I wanted. Like,
Yeah.
I signed on for Williamson and Sejic, and then Sejic, couldn't work on anymore. And now nothing against Abnett. I'm sure he's doing his best with what he's given.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the problem with this book now is that
Yeah.
it probably has to.
It has no purpose.
Yeah, it has to. Well, that's the thing. It probably does have a purpose, but the purpose is that it has to hit certain plot beats because that's what's going to tie into whatever Snyder's doing in Justice League down the line.
Yeah.
It's all tying into the Source Wall
Yeah.
and what happened in No Justice. It feels like everything is like, okay, here are the plot beats that it eventually has to hit. Which at this point, I think it'll hit all by about issue 12 and then get cancelled. That's my guess at this point. But I think it's there just to exist to prop up what needs to be set up and nothing else. Therefore, I can't imagine there's a lot of passion in it. I can't imagine that Abnett's like, oh, this is juicy. I get to do all these things with these characters. Nah, you have to get to this point by this date and this issue and just get there.
Yeah, I can kind of say that though that Abnett's the perfect guy for this because he's really flexible when it comes to his writing. Like he can jump in. Like look at those Aquaman issues, but they had to tie into like Suicide Squad, and they were fine. They weren't the best, but surely wasn't the worst. And that's with here. I want to care about this team because of Jessica and because of Starfire. And they're not really doing anything because then they argue also about, of course, Azrael's completely taken to this I'm a god thing where Cyborg and Starfire are a little bit more hesitant. And they're like, well, it doesn't make any sense because when they start talking to Blackfire, they're like, oh no, Darkseid set this plan into motion before any of you were born. Which, again, that doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, it
doesn't make.
It bums me out, man. Like I really wanted this book to be it.
It sucks. It's not that the book sucks. I'm saying it sucks that the book's not as what it should be. Because I was more excited for this than I was Dark when they were announced. But
me too.
Here it is. This is what we get. And I was going to try Abnett's first issue, but like
had I known you weren't going to, I would have skipped it too. But hey, lesson learned. And
what did you rate it? If you
so the art's really good, and I feel bad giving it a 4.5 just because I didn't care for the story. Like I'm sure that'll be egregious to other people who enjoyed the story, but I'm not. So it really colors it. And again, I don't need to see Darkseid die again. I've seen this throughout my comic fandom numerous times.
Yeah.
And it's not shocking anymore. So, yeah.
I don't know if anyone is going to be upset. I don't know if anyone's still reading it, honestly.
Yeah.
After I think people were dropping it in issue 3 and 4.
I could be wrong, and by issue 12, I'm going to have to go back and catch up 5 issues from this. But we'll see where it goes. Well, you know how I am. I'm a continuity wonk that needs to know every little piece. So
I will be very surprised if this is a must-read by for any reason by the time it ends.
Yeah, that's it. Just free up Starfire, let her come back to Earth and have zany adventures again. Like
free Starfire, free Jessica Cruz. I want Jessica Cruz.
Well,
somewhere.
That too. But let free Cruz after Grant's done. Grant, like I know him. Morrison's done with Green Lantern, so we can get all our lanterns back.
No, give me a Jessica ongoing with Tamaki writing it, please. I'll have that.
There you go.